any families that look like they could possibly work out, like their problems, like he could possibly...
I want you to be you're the problem child. You're not looking at this as an intelligent adult. You're looking at it as the teenager who's always in trouble. She's perfect. He's drinking all the time. She's going to support him. How do you feel being a part of this family?
Not like treated equally.
Okay. Does it feel like maybe it doesn't matter what you ever did right, it was never going to be good enough?
Yeah, kind of.
It didn't matter what this child did. This child could have been better than the model child, but it didn't matter because this role had already been established, this real intimacy had already been developed here, and there really wasn't room for anybody else in the family to be perfect. You can't have two perfect kids. So her only option, given her personality and all those other things that play into how you're going to behave and react, she became the problem. And she's really good at it. She's a problem to everybody. She's a problem to her teachers. She's a problem to her coaches. She's a problem to the administration of the school. She's in the principal's office. She's a problem in even some of her social situations. She's also very likely to join what? A gang. Why do children join gangs? Family, unity, acceptance, all the things that this child's getting that she's not getting. So it's really no secret why young people join up into groups, because there's no place for them at home. Now the interesting thing about this child is that she's actually the healthiest child in the family. So if she gets help early, she'll become a teacher, a counselor, a coach, because she knows how all this feels. She can identify that triad there, that group that excludes her. But you may not know it. She may overdose. She may end up in jail. She may end up getting killed before she can really get that help. So the earlier you can spot the troubled child and help them. Those of you going into education really need to be alert. You know, those children are a pain in the butt in a classroom. I know, I've taught junior high, and I'll tell you what, it's almost drives you to distraction. But if there's any way you can reach that child, that's the child that's apt to self-destruct in many different ways. Okay, who's our other child in the family? Oh, Elizabeth. Elizabeth is the lost child in the family. And that's why we sort of lost track of her. She just sat here in the crowd, never says very much. She is actually the sickest child in the family. Remember I said the other day that 75% of teen suicides come out of a dysfunctional family like this? She's the child that will commit suicide. She's the child that the parents come home someday and she's hung herself in the garage or overdosed on some kind of medication. So the lost child is someone that you really need to pay attention to. Those are the children in your classes, on your teams, never socialize with anybody. They're loners. They hate to do any kind of group work. In the old days, it used to be the kid that went into their room after school, closed the door, and listened to music, read all the time. Now it's the computer nerds, the Game Boy junkies, computer game kind of things. That's all they do. They can interact with some inanimate object, but they can't interact with anybody else. It should be a real red flag for you. If you know people like that, if you know young people like that, you need to intervene and try to help them, because they really can have some serious problems very early in life. And we've had a tremendous increase in teen suicide in the last 10 years, and that's usually the child. The one that seems to be normal, seems to be healthy, they're not drinking and causing a problem like the troubled child is. They're maybe not perfect, but they're not flunking out of school. They give you no reason to suspect that they have a problem, except that they're loners. Okay, So we have this family. Sometimes we have another role in the family. We have the joker child in the family, and the joker child is the child that makes a joke about everything. And that's how they deal with stress. If things get too tough, boy, they're cracking a joke. They're making fun of other people. They're making fun of situations. I'll tell you what, don't marry the joker child. Every time you want to have a serious conversation with this person, they'll be cracking a joke, being sarcastic, and will really never want to deal with their feelings. So the joker children, although they're entertaining, and I'll bet you all of you know someone like that, they're not very much fun to be in a real relationship with because they don't want to get too close. All right, we have this situation. We have John, who is the functional alcoholic. The only problem is sometimes he's late. She makes excuses for him all the time. He goes to lunch, has a couple of beers, comes back late to work. He doesn't participate in any kind of family thing. She's always making excuses. Remember, the chief enabler, she sees her role as keeping this family together. Okay? And you know, there's a lot of pressure to keep families together now, unfortunately. The sad thing is that some families shouldn't be together. Some of the healthiest kids I know have come out of families who have divorced, and they've done it in a healthy way. Just because your family's together doesn't mean you're healthy. So don't put those kind of arbitrary criteria around judging how healthy your family is. But the boss finally says to John, we're not going to put up with this anymore. I know you're going out at lunch and drinking. It's interfering with your performance. So we're going to help you out. We're going to send you to Schick-Shadel, 2 weeks, two-day follow-ups, $17,000. It's a hell of a deal. And Schick-Shadel used to be here in town. They moved out of town. But Schick-Shadel is an aversion therapy program. So basically, you go into a program, they detox you for a week, and then they spend the next week doing a variety of things to make you sick at the thought of drinking alcohol. So they may use a drug called Antabuse, which is very common. You take Antabuse every day, and if you drink any alcohol at all, it makes you violently ill. They do a variety of things with aversion therapy. It's quick, it's cheap, relatively cheap, even though that sounds like a lot of money, and you think you're going to have a quick solution. So they send John to Schick-Shadel, and he comes back 2 weeks later into this family. You're sober.
Feel good.
Feel good, okay? Now, tell me how you feel about your wife. Her behavior has not changed. She's still trying to take care of you. She's still, part of her role and identity was to take care of this guy. How do you feel now?
I feel self-sufficient. I don't need to be enabled anymore.
Okay, so she doesn't need to be looking after you and taking care of you and doing all those things. So how does that make you feel? So that you've lost a little identity. Yeah. I mean, part of your identity, really the only role she had in his life was taking care of him. Because they hadn't developed any real intimacy. So the only role she really had was as the caretaker or the enabler. Now, shoot, you don't need to pick up his beer cans anymore. You don't need to make excuses for him being late anymore. You know, he's doing his thing. What do you think about your model child?
Good kid.
Good kid. Good kid.
I wish I spent more time realizing all her efforts.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gee, don't make us too sick here. You're not too healthy yet, John.
I'm trying.
But she's perfect. What do you think about that?
I'm impressed.
Are you? You really think your children should be perfect?
No, well, I wasn't perfect.
So you'd like her to be perfect, huh? What do you think about Claire over here?
There's room for improvement.
Room for improvement? The cops are knocking at the door. You're finally sober enough to go answer the door. You're looking at the mail now that's coming from school, telling about all the classes that she cuts.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do with her?
I don't know. I'll talk to her about my experience at Schick-Shadel. I don't know, maybe get some intervention. Talk to counselor.
Well, I want you to, you're a guy that's only been sober 2 weeks. You're coming back into this family sober, And she's a pain in the butt.
Well, I don't want to, still recovering and feeling pretty good.
Do you think maybe she should come home at night? Yeah.
Spend more time.
Oh, yeah, spend more time with the family. How do you feel about that?
I'm surprised that they think they actually want me to spend time with them because I'm so used to them like pushing me to the side.
You're the rebel, Claire.
Okay.
You're.
I'm not happy about it.
Why aren't you happy about it?
Because I like being on my own. I like being independent.
She's developed some kind of security in her role. I mean, she gets in trouble. She gets attention, right? All of a sudden now she's got to go have dinner with the family. You know, they want you to go to school. They want you to stop drinking. They want you to stop hanging around with your friends. Are you happy about that? No, she's not happy about it at all. I mean, it all sounds nice. We're in this nice, safe little environment here, and she's trying to play the role as if, you know, she's the mature child. She's not a mature child yet. And her whole life is being turned upside down because now all of a sudden Dad pays attention. Where have you been the last 16 years, Dad? Now you're going to pay attention to me? That doesn't usually go over too well. Okay, Elizabeth, how do you feel about Dad, and how do you feel about Elizabeth?
Forgot about Elizabeth.
You know what? He really sort of had forgotten about Elizabeth. That sounds almost impossible. How could you forget about a kid? But when you're involved in your life, and especially using alcohol or drugs or other emotional issues that totally take you out of the picture, it's really easy. That was her goal to begin with, to be forgotten, not to be a problem, just silently disappear. So now you've discovered you have another daughter.
For not being there for you. Let's go to Disney.
You want to go to Disneyland with your dad? Last thing on earth she'd want to do was go to Disneyland with her dad. What else are you going to have her do? Maybe join you for dinner like you're going to have Claire? Oh, that's going to be a happy family at the table, isn't it? Come out of your room, have to join the family. What do you think? Okay, so now two things might happen here. We have about two options is all in this kind of a scenario. What do you think will happen, John?
Well, we can either communicate and come together as a family and, I don't know, go to church, have weekly dinners, I don't know, something like that.
John, you've been an alcoholic for your whole life. You've been sober 2 weeks.
Well, I'd like for us to be a family. I really would. You know?
They don't want to be a family. They're very happy just the way they are. This guy's going to do one or two things. What's it going to be? Start drinking again, and everybody here will be happy. It's like you didn't want him to drink, but now that he's sober, you don't want him sober. I don't know if you've ever been around anybody who is sober, but that's all they are. They haven't done anything else. They are impossible to be around. They make everybody's life miserable. What has this family done? This family has adapted. This family is comfortable. You're comfortable by yourself playing your video games, listening to music. You're comfortable being the perfect model child. You're comfortable being the rebel. Everybody's comfortable. You're very happy being the chief enabler. Now all of a sudden Dad comes home and life goes to hell. So he's either going to drink or do what? Leave. And you know, I got to tell you, I think men often are healthier in this situation. They will leave faster. Now, I'm not saying in this situation he should leave because I think there's a better alternative, but often men will get out of a bad situation sooner. Women, we're just pathetic. You know, we'll hang on and hang on and hang on for the good of the children, you know, how society perceives us, death do us part, the whole sorry saga.